No one in the 18th century understood what was about to hit them. Entire cities would rise and collapse within a generation. Villages that had survived for centuries would disappear overnight. Families who lived the same way for hundreds of years suddenly found their lives transformed by machines they had never seen before. And behind it all were deeper questions no one could escape. How did a few inventions completely rewrite global power? Why did some nations rise while others fell behind? And how did factories, coal, and steam engines shape the modern world we live in today? In this video, we are going to discuss all these things, so let's start. The Industrial Revolution didn't start with a grand plan. It began with small frustrations. British textile workers wanted faster ways to spin thread. Coal miners needed cheaper ways to pump water out of mines. Iron workers struggled to reach higher temperatures. These were practical problems, but solving them created a chain reaction that transformed the world. When James Watt improved the steam engine in the 1770s, it became the spark that turned Britain from an agricultural society into the world as first industrial superpower. The engine pumped water, powered factories, moved ships, and eventually drove trains. Suddenly, one machine could do the work of hundreds of people. But why Britain? The answer lies in geography, politics, and economics. Britain had large coal reserves close to the surface, a banking system that could fund risky inventions, colonies that supplied raw materials, and a stable political environment that encouraged innovation. While wars devastated continental Europe, Britain's island geography kept it relatively safe, allowing industry to grow uninterrupted. Once factories appeared, everything changed. Production that once required skilled craftsmen now relied on machines. Goods became cheaper, faster to produce, and available to the masses. The textile industry exploded, fueling Britain's wealth and influence. As factories grew, cities began to transform. Rural workers moved to industrial towns in search of wages, creating some of the fastest urban growth in human history. London, Manchester, Birmingham, these cities expanded so quickly that pollution, disease, and poverty spread just as fast as opportunity. Children worked long hours in dangerous conditions. Women labored in factories and coal mines. There were no safety laws, no protections, and no limits. The Industrial Revolution created wealth for some and misery for many, but it also pushed societies to demand reforms that would change working conditions forever. While Britain was industrializing, the rest of the world watched closely. Some nations adapted quickly. Belgium and Germany became major industrial powers. The United States, with its resources and vast land, soon outpaced even Britain. America built railroads across the continent, used steam power to expand agriculture and manufacturing, and eventually became the engine of global production. But other regions fell behind. Asia, Africa, and the Middle East struggled to catch up, partly because European powers used their growing industrial strength to dominate global trade. Coal and factories didn't just create wealth, they created empires. The Industrial Revolution also changed warfare. Before machines, wars depended on manpower and horses. After industrialization, nations could mass-produce weapons, ammunition, and railway systems to move armies quickly. Industrial power became military power. Countries with factories could fight longer, build stronger weapons, and project influence across the world. This connection between industry and war eventually shaped events like World War I, where industrial efficiency became more important than battlefield heroism. But technology didn't stop with steam. New inventions kept pushing society forward. Electricity arrived in the late 19th century, powering homes, factories, and entire cities. The internal combustion engine created automobiles, airplanes, and global transport networks. Steel replaced iron. Chemical industries revolutionized agriculture and medicine. Communication systems like the telegraph and telephone shrank distances between continents. Bit by bit, machines were not just tools, they became the backbone of modern civilization. Industrialization also reshaped the global economy. Traditional agricultural societies couldn't compete with industrial giants. Countries that embraced technology gained wealth, political stability, and global influence. Those that resisted or lacked resources were pushed into economic dependency. This divide, the industrialized world versus the developing world, created the global inequality we still see today. Even now, the world economy is shaped by industrial roots. The richest nations are those that industrialized early and built strong manufacturing bases. Socially, the revolution changed how people lived, worked, and thought. For the first time, wages replaced land as the foundation of wealth. Middle classes grew. Education became essential. People questioned old systems like monarchy and aristocracy, because industrialization demanded skilled workers, not just obedient subjects. This shift played a major role in political movements, revolutions, and demands for democratic reforms across Europe and America. The revolution also reshaped global trade networks. Raw materials flowed from colonies. Factories turned them into finished goods, and ships carried these products across the world. This system turned Britain into a global economic center and made London the heart of international finance. But it also intensified competition between great powers. Nations wanted resources, markets, and territories to fuel their industries. This race for industrial advantage helped drive imperialism, rivalries, and ultimately global conflicts. As the 20th century began, industrialization entered a new phase: mass production. Henry Ford's assembly line revolutionized manufacturing, making cars affordable for ordinary people. Factories could now produce standardized goods on an enormous scale. This efficiency transformed consumer culture, creating modern industries like automobiles, electronics, and household appliances. At the same time, industries created massive pollution, environmental damage, and climate challenges that the world still struggles with today. By the 21st century, a new phase of industrial change emerged: automation, digital technology, and artificial intelligence. This era is often called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Machines are no longer just physical, they are intelligent. Robots build cars, algorithms manage global markets, and digital networks connect billions of people. Industries can move across borders instantly. Nations without technological strength risk falling behind, just as countries without coal once did. Looking back, the Industrial Revolution changed power forever because it transformed the foundation of strength. Land no longer determined who ruled. Human labor was no longer the main driver of wealth. Instead, machines, energy, resources, and innovation shaped global power. Countries that embraced change rose, and those that resisted fell behind. And even today, every major global conflict, economic competition, and political transformation can be traced back to the industrial forces that began more than 2 centuries ago. The story of the Industrial Revolution is the story of modern humanity, its progress, its divisions, its inventions, and its consequences. It reminds us that technology is not neutral. Every machine changes society, shifts power, and creates new winners and losers. The question for our time is simple: as new technologies reshape the world again, who will adapt, who will resist, and who will control the next revolution?